Hi everybody, welcome to the another series of world mapping. In today's world mapping, we'll be looking into South America. So, when we look into South America, there are good numbers of countries here, and all of those countries have high importance for the UPSC uh, preparation. And you'll see that UPSC has asked, particularly in prelims, a lot of questions from these countries. So let's deep dive into the countries of South America. Before we go into the explanation, I want to let you guys know that we are going to start our offline and online foundation batches from the month of July. So you can contact us through our phone number given in the description, and also you can reach us out through our website. Apart from this, there's a wonderful program which we run at our institute, which is named as the Sampoon. This is a program which is particularly designed for college students, I mean the college ongoing students. We have designed the course in such a way that if they give 2 hours per day, then in their by the time they finish their college, the entire course is going to get over. And if in this Sampoon program, we make sure that the children, after they buy the course, they are not left out, or they are not left alone for their preparation. So we stay with them as a mentor, wherein every month we come in contact with the students and we have conversations one on one, discussing their problems and giving out solutions. So it is one of the best course, I can tell you, in India, which focuses on college going students. So let's start with the class. So if you look into this map, you will see this is the map of South America, and this map is the political map, and this is the physiographical map. Now first we'll look into the political map, and then we'll go into the physiographical map. So starting with the countries, the first country in South America is your French Guiana, and the capital of French Guiana is Cayenne. This is the, can say, the smallest country of South America. Next to French Guiana, you will find the country called Suriname, and the capital of Suriname is Paramaribo. You have to remember that this French Guiana is an independent country, but yet, they have a huge control by the French government. And in French Guiana, you will get a place called Kourou, and that is the European Space Center. That is, the Europeans, they use this uh, space center for launching of their satellites in French Guiana. Next, you have the country Guyana. The capital is your Georgetown. Next to Guyana is Venezuela, a very, very popular country. The capital is Caracas. Now you have to remember that in this particular region of Guyana and Venezuela, this area is a conflicted area between these two countries of Venezuela and Guyana. So you can say that there is a kind of a kinetic conflict or war between these two countries. In Venezuela, you'll find a lake, this lake. Though we are going to go in detail about each and every country, but this is just an overall understanding so that you can remember things. Here you'll find a lake which is called as the Maracaibo Lake, and this lake has the world's largest oil reserve. And we know Venezuela is an oil exporting country. Even India, we have exported oils, imported oils from Venezuela. So this particular lake, that is Maracaibo, has the highest oil reserves of the world. In Vienna, particularly in this region, you will find a fall which is called as Angel Fall, and this is the world's highest waterfall, which is located in Venezuela. Next to Venezuela, you'll find the country Colombia. The capital is Bogota. Now, Colombia has been very much popular through a series called, there's a name of series, I forgot the name, Narcos, most probably, where they showed about the life and the entire, journey of a drug dealer. You might have heard about this name called Pablo Escobar. So he was basically from this region. And as because all of these regions are within the tropics, so they are covered with thick forest and have high amount of biodiversity, and thus you'll find a lot of drug dealers and drug production happening in this country. And Colombia is the country which borders with Panama in this region and is connected to North America. So Colombia plays a very, very important role in connectivity, I mean road connectivity. The Pan American Highway, you know, enters into South America through Colombia. But however, in the last class, we have discussed about the Darien Gap here. So Darien Gap is also located in Colombia. The next is Ecuador. The small country you see is Ecuador. And capital of Ecuador is Quito. Okay, it's Quito. Now in Ecuador, you will come across a place which is thousands of kilometers, I mean just 1,000 kilometers away from Ecuador, which is called as the Galapagos Island. And this island is a unique biodiversity island, and it is an island where entry is restricted because of its rich biodiversity. This is one uniqueness of this island. Another uniqueness is that if you know about the person called Darwin, who gave the theory survival of the fittest, okay, he basically gave this theory while he was in Galapagos Island. And also in Ecuador, you should remember another thing is that when you hear the word penguin, what comes to your mind? It is found in the southern region of our earth, that is, I can say, in the Antarctican region, or basically in the latitudes, I mean higher latitudes in the southern hemisphere. Though in the northern hemisphere you will not find any penguin, in the southern hemisphere, higher latitude above 80, you will find penguins. But Ecuador is the only country which is above equator where you find the Galapagos penguins. So if someone tells you that penguins are located only in the southern pole or in the southern hemisphere, no, there is a group of penguin which is also found in the northern hemisphere, which is the Galapagos penguin. Next to Ecuador, you will find Peru. The capital of Peru is Lima. Here in Peru, you'll find a lake which borders with Bolivia. This lake is called as Lake Titicaca, and this lake is the highest navigable lake. That means the height of the lake is on a mountain. I mean, the lake is located on a mountain, and the lake is used for navigation. That is, there is routes of ships which travels. So it is the highest navigable lake, and it borders Bolivia. So Peru and Bolivia has this common thing about the lake called Lake Titicaca. Apart from this, just below Titicaca, here in Bolivia, you will find another lake which is called as Lake Pupo. And this Lake Pupo is similar to Lake Aral. If you know about the Lake Aral in the Central Asian region, it is in the drying state because of severe climate change effect. So this Lake Pupo is also similar to Lake Aral, which is in the drying state. Next to Peru is your Bolivia. Bolivia interestingly has two capital. One is the capital which is called as La Paz. Another is the capital which is called as Sucre. Now these La Paz and Sucre, they have different functioning. That is, one is used as the judicial capital, another one is used as an, so say, the sitting for the ministers. So there are two capitals, and this La Paz, which is located near the lake Titicaca. So as you know, the lake Titicaca is the highest lake, so you can figure it out that it is located on a some kind of on a mountain. So even lake, I mean the capital La Paz is also located on this mountain of Andes, and La Paz is considered as the highest capital of the world. Next to Bolivia, you will see the country called Chile here. It's a long country in the shape of a chili, which is called as Chile. The capital is Santiago. Here in Chile, I mean northern part of Chile, here you will find a famous desert which is called as Atacama. Desert Atacama. Then you will have your Paraguay. The capital is Asuncion. Then you will have your Uraguay. The capital is Montevideo. And then you will have the country Argentina, whose capital is Buenos Aires. Next to it, the largest country of South America is your Brazil. and the capital of Brazil is Brasilia. And Brazil is one of the country through which equator and Tropic of Cancer, both of them, they pass over Brazil. Now, if you look into the equator, equator passes through, in South America, it passes through Ecuador, it passes through Colombia, and it passes through Brazil. Okay, then few other aspects to remember is that all the countries of South America, in one way or the other, even little or large, they have boundary connectivity, or they are bounded with Brazil, except Ecuador here and Chile. If you look into all the countries, they have boundaries with Brazil. So except Ecuador and Chile, all the countries, they are bounded with Brazil. And there is one country which is called as Bolivia. This country is a landlocked country. That is, it does not have any coastal uh, uh, landform or coastal location where it is connected to the oceans. So these are two important, unique features of, not just two, there are others also, like the equator and the Tropic of Cancer passes through Brazil. Both they pass through Brazil. Okay, then over the time, when you go into the countries, we'll get to know about other important features. But from the map, you can figure out that this is the landlocked country, and Ecuador and Peru is the country which does not bounder with Brazil. The rest, all other countries, they bounder with Brazil. Now, if we look into the physiography of South America, you can figure out from this image that this part of South America, this part of South America, and this part of South America, with this image, you can figure out that these are zones which are, lower in height, and these are the zones which are higher in height. So this particular feature which you see is the mountain Andes, and this is the longest mountain of South American range, and this mountain was formed due to the collision of subduction of the Nazca, Cocos, Nazca, largely we call them as Pacific plates, versus the South American plate. And as because one of the plate, like this, is oceanic in nature and this is continental in nature, so what happens is that when the oceanic plates collides with the continental plate, we know the oceanic plates get subducted beneath the continental plate, and as a result, there is some, volcanic activities happening on the boundaries of the continental plate, and thus we can say that the entire mountain range here is volcanic in nature, and also there is earthquakes, severe earthquakes, frequent earthquakes. So overall, you can say this is the largest mountain of your South America, that is the mountain Andes. And in this mountain Andes, you will find a lot of peaks, mountain peaks, which are volcanic in nature. Like you'll find the Cotopaxi, okay, Cotopaxi mountain, which is a active volcanic mountain. Then you will find a mountain which is called as Aconcagua. This Aconcagua is the highest mountain range located in the southern hemisphere. Now, when you talk about the highest mountain range located in northern hemisphere, we know about our Mount Everest. Then we have this K2. But if we talk about southern hemisphere, Mount Aconcagua is the highest, and it is located located on the mountain Peru. Apart from this, here you will find two cordilleras, I mean two branches of Andes. This is particularly found in this region of Colombia, and these two branches are called as Cordillera Occidental and Cordillera Oriental. This is the mountain range. Now, if you come down a little lower to mountain, I mean, if you come down to a little lower height of landform, then here you will find the Brazilian highland. So this is the Brazilian highland. So if you have watch movies or watch videos wherein you are shown about Brazil, it mainly depicts about some hilly regions, mountainous region, but not that very high. So you see the entire Brazil on this side is kind of hilly, and thus it is called as Brazilian highland. The reason highland is that mountains are, they have a greater height. Highlands, they have a lower height compared to the mountains. Next to highland, you can talk about certain hills which are farther lower in height. Apart from this, you'll find another highland which is called as the Guiana highland. And if you remember, I told you that somewhere here you have this particular fall which is called as Angel Fall, and basically the Angel Fall is formed in this region of Guiana highland. So the rivers, when they pass through the Guiana highlands and then they fall down, then they form this fall called as the Angel Fall. Then if you come down to lower heights such as the plateau, you will find, two three major plateaus. One is the Mata Grosso plateau, which is located in the central part of Brazil. Second, you will find is the Bolivian plateau, where the country Bolivia is located. And the third you will find is the Patagonian plateau, okay, in the regions of Argentina. Now, apart from this, there are other highlands also, like the Borborama Plateau and the Serra Tumucu Macau Highland. Now, if you look into this region, you will see that this looks like a tree branch. This is nothing but this is the Amazon River. So we can say at one point of time, this entire area was also a kind of a highland, or was an extended portion of the Andes. But over the time, what happened? The river Amazon has completely washed it off and has formed this particular plain. So you can say that all of these small hill ranges or the highlands which you find are comparatively very old. Why we can say it as old? Because the river has not been able to erode these landforms, and that is why sometimes they are also referred to as the Brazilian shield, like the Canadian shield we have. Like in India, we have this hard mountain or hard rock structure landform like the Aravalli. So these are comparatively harder and they are comparatively older also. And remember, this Andes mountain is a new mountain which was formed particularly in the tertiary period, just before the tertiary period, when there was this mountain building period. Apart from this, there are two large landforms which are very popular and unique in South America. Is one is this Atacama Desert, which I have already told you, and this is one of the driest desert of the world, where there was no rainfall for continuous 400 years at one point of time. And then you have the Patagonian desert, and this Patagonian desert is the cold desert, and it's the largest cold desert of South America. And it has very unique phenomena also, where in the Patagonian desert you will find large glaciers, and these glaciers in Patagonian deserts are not impacted by any, you know climate change, or are basically not melting like the glaciers of other regions are melting. Here the glaciers are yet to get impacted, and this is something which is good. But however, with the uh, acceleration of climate change and the pace at which it is changing, this will also get impacted at one point of time. So this is the overall image, or you can visualize it in your mind how exactly South America would look like. And tomorrow, if you are told about to recreate an image of the capitals of this country, just remember the location of the capital and you can recreate an image how that particular area would look like. Now you can say that apart from this Argentinian region of Buenos Aires, where it is located here, most of the capitals are located in high hills, like Brasilia in high hills. There was one capital of Brazil in the older days, which was the Rio de Janeiro, and Rio de Janeiro is located somewhere in the coastal region. But due to some administrative reason and security purpose, they shifted the major city of Rio de Janeiro, which was more popular at one point of time, to another city in the hilly mountainous region, that is Brasilia. The reason is, we'll see in the coming slides that how these countries, they are not generally in the news, but these countries also have their personal issues. And there was a time in the past when these countries also, they fought against each other for, claiming lands. Okay, so this is all about it. Like Brasilia, how we Indians, we know that at one point of time our capital was in Kolkata, then Mumbai, Surat. These were some major cities, but finally we shifted our major, administrative center to Delhi. What is the reason? Center of India, then also some security purposes and etc. In the similar way, Brazil did this. So this is the overall view of the physiography of Brazil and the political scenario of Brazil. And here the major river, like I told you, is the river Amazon, which is the largest river of South America, not of South America, is also of the world. And this region, you see, is entirely covered with the Amazon forest, which is called as the lungs of the world. Okay, because of their highest carbon sequestration process. Apart from this, here also in these zones where you see the height is lower, you'll find rivers such as the river Parana, such as the river San Francisco, such as the river Uraguay and Paraguay. So this is the detailing, a few factual detailing of Central America, sorry, South America. When you get the PPD, you can download it from our description, uh, uh, and you can read it and make a note out of it. Okay, so like I told you that there was this lake, which is the highest navigable lake, which is the Lake Titicaca, located in the boundary between Peru and Bolivia. Then you have this Lake Pupo, right? Lake Pupo. Here there is one more interesting thing, that is the, you see this particular region, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina. This is Bolivia, this is Chile, and this is Bolivia, this is Argentina, and this is Chile. This is called as the lithium triangle of the world. Why? Because this region, they have the highest lithium reserves, and lithium is a critical mineral. And the rivers, like I told you, the largest river is the river Amazon, and Amazon has four major tributaries. Apart from this, Amazon also has various other tributaries. The major tributaries are the Negro River, the Madiara River, Tapajos River, and the Singzu River. Here in Venezuela, you will find a river which is called as Orinoco River. So if we talk about the rivers, major rivers of South America, you will find Orinoco in Venezuela. Then you will find Amazon, which has four tributaries: Negros, Madiera, Tapajos, and you will find the Singzu River. Then apart from this, you will find San Francisco, which is in Brazil. Then you will find the Parana River. And interesting thing about the Parana River is that the Parana River borders Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. We're going to look into it. Then you have the Uraguay River or Uraguay River. Then you have the Paraguay River. And here, if you look into this river, this Orinoco River has a tributary which is called as the Chirona. And this Chirona has a tributary which is called as the Charun. Okay, so Charun falls into Chirona, Chirona falls into Orinoco. Now, why I have told you this is because it is Charun where you will find the Angel Fall. So, it is Charun river on which the Angel Fall is located. Okay. Okay. Apart from this, there are certain major water bodies which you should remember. Here, south of South America, you will find a sea which is called as the Scotia Sea. Here, you will find a passage which is called as the Derek Passage, and it is one of the deadliest passage of the world. Before the Panama Canal here was constructed, ships used to travel through this direct passage and then go into Europe or Africa. Then here in Chile, you will find a street which is called as the Magellan Street. Here, there is another passage which is called as the Beagle Passage in this particular region. And here, if you look into this point, this is the extreme southernmost point of South America. This is called as Ushuaia, southernmost point. So if you have to go to Antarctica through South America, you have to go through this particular point of Ushuaia. So these are the physiographical locations of various um, landforms and rivers along with water bodies of South America. So now let us go into the countries of South America one by one, and let us look into their unique features or characteristics. First one is the French Guiana, which I told you it is on the first country which I started with. Okay, here the important thing about French Guiana is that in French Guiana there is a national park which is called as the Guiana Amazonian Park, and this is the largest national park of UE, that is European Union. And apart from this, in French Guiana you will find a place called Kuruo. This is your Kuruo, and like I told you, in Kuruo it is the space European Space Agency or the space centers for the launching of satellites, which is done by the European countries, particularly France. But apart from France, the other countries also they use it as space station. Why they have used this? Because if you know about the latitude, if you go and see the latitudes of Europe, they are very much away from the equator. And you know that in the equator region, most of the satellite launching stations are located in the European region, and also most of the centers are near to some large water bodies, ocean or sea. So that is why they have used this as Kuruo as their space center. Now, very interestingly, this French Guiana, which is under French, okay, but particularly under the administration of France, here this particular island, at one point of time when there were French colonies around the world, this particular land was used like a, salvation land, or you can say it was used like a prison. Why? Because anybody in the regions where there was French colonies, they did some heinous crime, or they were against the government. What did they do? They picked up that guy from that particular location and put him in this country. Like, you can tell that it was kind of a jail for all of those notorious people or who were against the French government or French king. So that is why this island is called as the Devil's Island. Similarly, Australia also has this story where it was used as kind of a prison for notorious people, or other who were antisocial, or were against the king or the ruler. Okay, so this country was also used in the similar way. The next country to French Guiana is Suriname. This Suriname remained under the control of Dutch for a very long period of time, and they gained their independence only in 1975. Why I have given you this date? Because in 75 what was happening in India. Like, you can remember it with emergency. When India was having emergency, French Guiana gained its independence from the Dutch. And this French Guiana is this Suriname is the smallest, okay, state of South America. And another interesting fact about Suriname is that it is a carbon negative economy. It is not neutral, it is carbon negative economy. Why? Because of the presence of large amount of forest region. Now you might have a doubt that even Brazil has a good amount of forest, but here it has become carbon negative because the amount of carbon which is released is less than the amount of carbon which is sequestrated. So Brazil is similar to like India. They are also kind of a developing nation where they have industries, they have poverty and etc. So even the industries, they do not use biofuels. The use of biofuels or the use of renewable source of energy is less, though they might have a large forest. But Also, the population of Brazil is also quite very high, so there is also cutting down of the trees. But if you look into Suriname, the amount of carbon released is lower than the amount of carbon sequestrated. And here in this region, most of the dwellers are basically from India, basically from Southeast Asia, or from Africa, because they were all slaves which was brought by the Dutch, the French, the Britishers for plantation purposes in Cuba, Caribbean island, and some of them also were brought to this particular region. So you will still, even today, you will find the architectures, I mean house architectures like that of the European. Okay, the next country to Suriname is your Guyana. The capital is Georgetown, and if you look into Guyana, it is bordered by Venezuela and Suriname on this side, but on this side it is bordered a little part of it. I mean, this particular part it is bordered by the Brazil. I mean, the country Brazil. Now, this country is very popular for its, rugged topography, kind of a hilly and rough topography. And here in this country, you'll find a fall which is the Coutier Fall. Like the Angel Fall was the largest, highest fall of the world. Okay, Coutier Fall is the largest single drop waterfall of the world. Now, what do you mean by single drop waterfall? If this is a mountain, say example, this is a mountain, there could be a fall which is falling down from this particular region. Okay, or it could be a cascade also. But sometimes what happens is that due to erosion, the outer part of the mountain has become something like this, and now the water is falling like a drop from here. It is not sliding or cascading against the mountain, so it is something like this. Okay, you can, just for your reference, it is something like this. This is the mountain, and now the waterfall is falling like a drop here. So this is the world's largest single drop waterfall, which is called as the Coutier Fall. And here, like I told you, this country is in a kinetic war-like situation with Venezuela, which is the Essequibo border. I mean, Venezuela claims almost half of Guyana is claimed by Venezuela. Just like India, Pakistan, we have this issue. Here also, this is called as the Essequibo border dispute. It is between Venezuela and Guyana. The next country to Guyana is your Venezuela. Now, Venezuela is a very popular and a very important country because of its rich mineral reserves. I mean, particularly petroleum. And Venezuela, at one point of time, was the largest exporter. But even today, they have the largest oil reserve. But because of relationship with USA and and because of being neighbor to USA, there are a lot of things which happened in Venezuela. And today, you see, they are no longer that important. But however, even today, they export good amount of oil from this particular country. Now, if we talk about oil reserves are mainly located in Venezuela. It is mainly located in a place which is called as the Maracaibo Lake. So this is not exactly a lake. It has an opening towards the Gulf of Venezuela. It could be it could be more referred to as lagoon, but still it is not referred to as a lagoon. The reason is the size of it. So that is why it's referred to as the Maracaibo Lake. And you remember that it is this particular region where the extraction of the oil, they look like offshore extraction which is happening in the ocean, but actually it is a lake. The capital is a popular city called Caracas. And here, like I told you, you will have the Angel Fall, which is the world's highest waterfall. Here in Venezuela, there is an incident which is called as the Catatumbo lightning. This is a unique lightning which happens in this lake of Maracaibo, wherein it looks like the lightning is getting connected. There's a connection between the skies and the lake Maracaibo, and this is called as the Catatumbo lightning, which is popular in the lake Maracaibo. And similarly, you have the Essequibo dispute between Venezuela and your Guyana. The next country after Venezuela is your Colombia. And I've told you this Colombian country is rich with biodiversity, and thus you see there are a lot of medicinal plants which are basically used to produce drugs, and you'll find these drug lords or cartels which are very popular in Colombia. Now, these drug lords or cartel members are also there in Ecuador, Peru, and Venezuela, but however, Colombia has become hotspot for such activities. Here, the lake you will find is Lake Toto, the very small lake in Colombia. Apart from this, in Colombia, the unique feature is that you will find two cordilleras, like I have told you, Occidental and Oriental. And you will see the capital of Bogota is also located in this particular cordillera, which is called as Occidental. And here you will find a unique ecosystem which is called as the Paramo ecosystem. Now, Parama ecosystem is, in a simple word, if I have to tell you, it is nothing but a unique grassland which is grown on the high hills or high mountains. And this is what, Parana ecosystem, they look like. It is something which is very unique and located in Colombia only. In Colombia, you will find a city. If you look into this particular region, you'll find a city which is called as Cartagena city. Now, how do you relate this city? The Cartagena city is related to a protocol which is called as the Cartagena protocol. You might have studied this in your environment. That is, this there was an protocol signed for the transportation of LMOs, living modified organisms. Biosafety, it is a biosafety protocol. That is, if any living organism is being transported from one country to the other country, any living organisms, it could be a plant, it could be an animal, particularly it was for plant, it could be seed. If they are being modified, the country to which they are being exported has to get detailed about what modification has been done, because a small modification can result into collapse of the entire country's biodiversity if exported without prior notice. So this is the city of Cartagena. The next country is Ecuador, and Ecuador, it is the country through which the equator passes. And in Ecuador, you will see that few thousand kilometers away from Ecuador, you will find the island which is called as the Guiana Island. Not Guiana Island, Galapagos Island. And I have told you it is the island where Darwinism has given the theory of fittest of the survival. And here you will find a lake which is called as the Lake Culoto, and it is a caldera lake. Like I told you, the entire country on this side, they are covered with Andes mountain, and it is a volcanic mountain. So there are a lot of active volcanoes, and also there are a lot of volcanic lakes or the calderas. So you'll find the Lake Quiloto. In Ecuador, a very interesting thing is that you'll find a mountain which is called as the Mount Chimborazo. Yes, here you'll find the mountain called Chimborazo, and also you'll find a mountain which is called as Cotopaxi. This Cotopaxi is the highest active volcanic mountain of South America. And what is the unique feature of Chimborazo? Chimborazo is the highest mountain if you calculate it from the center of the earth. Now you might say, sir, if you calculate the highest mountain range, it is the Mount Everest. If you calculate the height of a mountain from the sea level, I mean from the bed of the sea, it is Mount Moana. So how come this becomes the highest mountain? This mountain is highest in terms of, if you compare all the highest point of the earth from the space, like if you have to travel from space, which is the point you're going to reach first, which is the point of the earth? It is the point of Chimborazo. Why? It is because it is located on the equator, and we know the earth has bulged on the equator. So because of this bulginess, it is the highest point. I mean the point which you will first find when you come from the space. I mean nearest point from the space, Chimborazo. And remember that they are the largest exporter of bananas. And apart from this, I have told you there's a penguin, which is the only penguin which is found in the equator is the Galapagos penguin, or else the rest other penguins are always found in the higher latitude above 80. Next country to Ecuador is your country Peru. The capital is Lima. In Peru, you'll find a current which is called as the Humboldt current. Okay, von Humboldt current, who discovered this current while he was exploring in Peru, and so thus he named this current as the von Humboldt current. Apart from this, it is Peru from where the Amazon first starts. I mean, you can say it is the source of the river Amazon. And in Peru, you'll find a place which is called as Machu Picchu. Okay, Machu Picchu is a unique tourist site, or a unique kind of a citadel town development which was done by a tribe which was called as the Inca empire or the Inca kingdom. And this Inca kingdom, they were some good architecture at that point of time. So this is the Machu Picchu, which is this one of the seventh wonder of the earth. So this is your Machu Picchu. And this Inca Empire ruled here for a very long period of time, and they had to give up this area because of internal conflict. And Peru is also the largest exporter of blueberries around the world. So you can remember Peru with Machu Picchu, source of Amazon, and you can remember it with the von Humboldt current. Next to Peru is your country Bolivia. Now, Bolivia capitals with Peru, and there, like I have told you, there is a lake called Lake Titicaca, which is the world's highest navigable lake, and also there is a lake called Pupo, which is in the drying state. So they have two capitals. One is La Paz, another one is the Sucres, and this Sucre La Paz is the highest administrative capital of the world, and the Sucre is basically the judicial capital of Bolivia. And the country Bolivia is also very good with its economy because of tourism. Now, here if you look into this lake is so large that it is used for navigation. It means that this lake, in spite of being in in a high mountain, on a high mountain, there are a lot of shipyards, or dockyards, or these are yachts which are used. So you can say that tourism flourishes in Bolivia, and the lake is as such that at some point of the lake you will feel like you are somewhat near to the coastal region of an country, and the ocean is ahead of you. So you will not even see the other side of the other side of the lake. So it looks like an ocean. Here, like I told you, this Bolivia falls under the lithium triangle, that is Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. They are in the lithium triangle, and Bolivia has the highest reserve of lithium. Next to Bolivia is your country Paraguay. So Paraguay is a country which is located on the left hand side. I mean, if you look it from this side, on the right hand side of Bolivia, and it is a small country which capital is your Asuncion. Here in Paraguay, the interesting thing is that there was a war which is called as the Triple Alliance War. And in this Triple Alliance War, Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay together they fought against Paraguay, and then Paraguay lost the battle, because you see this side is Argentina, this side is Brazil, and here you will find your Uruguay. So three of them, they made an alliance and fought against Paraguay and took away 60% of Paraguay's land. I mean, their boundary or the border of Paraguay was taken away by these three countries, and thus you see Paraguay became so small. Or else Paraguay was also one large country. So 60% of Paraguay's land were lost to these three countries: Brazil, Uruguay, and Argentina. And here you will find a dam which is called as the Itaipu Dam, and this is one of the world's largest hydro project dam. A very interesting thing in Paraguay is that there is a river which is called as the river Parana. And this river Parana, this is the river Parana. This river Parana basically divides three countries: one Argentina on this side, Brazil on this side, and Paraguay on this side. So you might have seen this in a lot of social media, Facebook or Instagram also, where a river is dividing three countries, that is the river Parana. And I've already told you about the river in the earlier slide. The next is Uruguay, another very small country. Okay, you might have heard about this वेरी पॉपुलर फेमस फुटबॉलर, अभी तो मेरे को नाम याद नहीं आ रहा है, वो उरुग्वे से ही था. He used to play for Barcelona and he used to assist Messi. So he was from this country Uruguay. The capital of Uruguay is Montevideo, and most of this country, I mean the Uruguay country, is under the grassland of Pampos, which is located in Brazil. Okay, you see this is Brazil, so here also you'll find a lot of grassland. So their economy mainly thrives in agriculture and dairy production. Apart from this Uruguay country has a bay which is called as the Rio de la Bay, or it is the Rio de la Plata Bay. And here the major river is the Rio Negro River. The next country to Uruguay is your Chile. Like I told you, it is a country which is like a in the form of a chili. So I mean the chili which you consume, it's a long country which runs from the borders of Peru and Bolivia up to the southernmost tip near to the Antarctic region. In Peru, I mean in Chile, the capital is Santiago, and in the northern part of Chile, you will find a desert which is called as the Atacama Desert. Okay, and here you'll find a lake which is called as the Carrera Lake. It is the deepest lake of South America. And in Atacama Desert, there was a time for 400 years, like I told you, there was no rainfall. Here, if you come down to Peru, here you will find the Porto William. In Porto William, you will find the place called Ushua, which is the southernmost point of South America. Just right of it, you will find the Street of Magellan, which connects these two water bodies. Here you will find the direct passage and the Bagels Street. On this right hand side, if you come down, you will find an island which is called as the Falkland Island or the Falkland Island. It is an island which is administered by UK, but Argentina has claimed that it is their island. So it is a disputed island you can talk about. And a very another thing to remember about Chile is that they are the highest exporter of the fish salmon. Sorry, they are the second highest exporter. The first is Norway. The next country is your Argentina, a very popular and a very interesting country, a very beautiful landscape-wise beautiful country. The capital of Argentina is Buenos Aires. Just if you look into a little north of Buenos Aires, you will find a place called Rosario. This is the place from where Messi has emerged out to be the best footballer. Now controversial, but yes, who is best, Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo or anybody else. But remember, this is the hometown of Messi. Here in Argentina, you will find the highest mountain range of South America, which I have told you. It is the mountain Aconcagua. Aconcagua. The grassland in Argentina is Pampas. And in Argentina, you will find this particular region, you will find a desert which is called as the Patagonian Desert. In Patagonian Desert, you will find the Perito Glacier, which is one glacier which is least impacted by climate change or the melting issue. And Patagonian Desert, it is one of the largest, like the Gobi Desert, it is one of the largest cold desert of the world, one of the largest. Here, the grassland, like I told you, it is Pampas. So, just for a reminder, that is, if you talk about the grasslands, okay, in Argentina, you will find the grassland which is called as Pampos. Okay, in Uraguay, you will find again the grassland which is Pampos. There is one grassland in Venezuela which I forgot to mention. It is Ilanos, ILL. It is Ilanos grassland, and there are two popular grasslands. I mean, three popular grasslands in Brazil. So let us go and look into the grasslands of Brazil, and let's look into the features of Brazil. So this is your Brazil, like I showed you in the map, wherein most of the part of Brazil is covered with highlands, not mountains, highlands and plateau. Okay, Mata Grasso Plateau. Okay, Brazilian highland. We had this Mata Grasso Plateau here. We have the Brazilian highland here. We have the Borbodora, and here you have the Guianan highland, which is also a little part of it is in Brazil. And then here you have your largest river, that is the Amazon, I mean river basin, largest river basin, Amazon river. You have the Amazon jungle here. You have the San Francisco mount river on the in this region, and somewhere here you have your Brasilia. Now if we talk about the grasslands of Brazil, okay, Brazil, in this part of Brazil, in this part of Brazil, this lower part of Brazil, if you look into, in this lower part of Brazil, you will find the grassland Pampos, which is also shared with Uraguay. Okay, Then in this part of Brazil, you'll find the grassland, Caatinga, Cerrados. Okay, so these grasslands are Caatinga, Cerrados. Apart from this, you'll also find a grassland which is called as the Pantanal. You'll also find a grassland which is called as Pampos. Oh, sorry, Campos, not Pampos, Campos. So in Brazil, you'll have 5 grasslands: Pantanal, Caatinga, Cerrados, and Campos. Along with it, a small part of also has Pampas. In Argentina, you'll find Pampas. In Uraguay, you'll find Pampas. And in Venezuela, you'll find Ilanos. Now, this particular region of Brazil, where it is covered with thick tropical forest, has also another name, which is called as the selvas. This forest is called as the selvas. Like you might have heard about this region, Sahel region of Africa. So here, this particular region, I mean the forest, is called as silvers. There, if you look into this image, this is the Christ reindeer, which is one popular statue, just like we have the Statue of Unity in India. So this is one popular statue which is located in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, which is located somewhere in this coastal region. So you'll find the cities like Rio de Janeiro, San Paulo, Salvador, and etc. So this is all about your Brazil. And Brazil, resource wise, they are extremely rich. So you will find they are the largest sugarcane producer of the world, they are the largest soybean producer of the world, they are the largest coffee producer of the world, they are the largest orange producer of the world. And just like they have so many grasslands, so in these grasses, who basically graze? Basically, can I say the cattle? So the cattle industry, I mean the animal husbandry, is also extremely large in Brazil, and thus they are also the largest beef and poultry producer of the world. Apart from this, mineral wise, Brazil has the highest reserve of niobium and second highest reserve of iron ore. What is niobium? It is nothing a critical mineral which is used in alloy steels and in aeroplanes and aircrafts for better durability and strength. So this is all about our South American geographical map series. I hope you have understood it. You can get the PDF in the description section, or you can reach us out, wherein we can help you in your preparation to make your preparation easier and fun loving. Please do subscribe to our channel and also comment your thoughts in the comment section. So till then, guys, take care of yourself, enjoy your studies, and keep working until you reach your goal. Take care.